Hi guys, welcome to a brand new episode of Client Interviews. Today we have Eric Elia from Sweden. Eric has actually coached me in my performance, and he's helped me, get better sleep and improve my performance. If many of you see that I wear a ring sometimes, like a black ring that's obnoxious. It looks like it could be something out of this universe. It's an aura ring that I use to measure my sleep. I used to use it a lot more before, but now it's a lot less because I've already dialed things in and I'm consistent with it. But that was all thanks to Eric. He taught me how to sleep better, eat better, and as a result, improve my performance. But Eric has also joined us in the program, in the Reality Mastery program. When did you join us, man?
I joined back in October of 2020.
October of 2020. Okay. So Eric joined us right around the 5K mark. And I think a couple of months ago, Eric hit his biggest month ever. He did 30K month. So he went from doing 5K to now consistently doing around 20 to 30K a month in his business and just, scaling up. So Eric, I just wanted to hand it over to you, man, just to do a quick intro. Tell us a little bit about yourself, anything I might have missed.
Of course, pleasure and happy to be here. Thank you for letting me on here. And my journey started back in late 2019, where I got into the online space, and it's been a roller coaster, to be honest. And this program helped me so much with controlling the internal state, because I like so many entrepreneurs don't realize that, entrepreneurship and like your business journey is just a journey of self-discovery, and you always needing to master yourself, master your emotion, master having control over yourself. And I honestly think it's very hard to get into the online space and get into entrepreneurship without being able to have a stable foundation within that. So yeah, I'm happy to share everything I've learned and everything that the Reality Mastery program helped me with along the way. And obviously the results speaks for themselves. And I'm happy to be here.
It's so interesting that you say that, man, that the journey is internal, because like most people who are they're either fully into spirituality, right? Or they're fully into business and they don't give a shit about mindset and spirituality. There's no balance between the two. So people who are fully into spirituality think money is evil, business is a bad, and they want to go up to like the mountains and meditate all day. And people who are fully into business have no concern for their health or anything. They're just like trying to make the most money as they can right now, this month. They want to hit the biggest thing right now. And they just want to it's like they're living right. They don't think about the longer term, about their health or the consequences of their actions, right? But when you get a marriage of the both, that's when beautiful things start to happen. You get fulfillment out of it and you start to reap the rewards of this internal journey, right? Because for me, at least, I've seen that when I've started to look at this whole journey of entrepreneurship as an internal journey, not an external one about getting money or getting this and getting that. And I've seen that I've become more and more fulfilled in the process, in the journey, rather than achieving some result. Like when I hit my first 100K month, I was like, oh, that's it. Great. I was more fulfilled in the process of getting there, of improving things, of coaching clients. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And I can straight up, before jumping on, I've always cared about my health because I have a background in soccer here in Sweden. But mindset-wise, I never thought that I'd get into some woo-woo, some spirituality, a mindset on that deep level. And your program was my entry to that whole space. And now today, compared to back then, before I joined, I was only thinking how can I make more money? How can I only thinking about the external stuff? Why isn't it going my way? I'm doing the right things, blah, 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 this and that. And your course really let me into exploring the spiritual side of myself, which I'm still exploring today and getting better with, but also mastering my internal world and understanding that what's right, what I have within myself and how I control myself on a day-to-day basis will very often get reflected into my business and what I do every day in life. And I saw this in my personal life, and I saw it within business and every area of my life, and especially with this one big topic as an entrepreneur. I see a lot of entrepreneurs super attached to the outcomes.
Oh yeah.
And I was super attached to every single thing within my business. And one big thing, we can maybe touch upon that later, was that your program really taught me how to let go and not only within business, honestly, like my personal life as well has dramatically become a lot better, and just an overall more quality life by learning the principles that is within the program. The
Mm.
content was, you know, priceless.
Love to hear that, man. So let me ask you this: what was how did you find out about reality mastery? You know, what was your journey like beforehand? And why did you make the decision to even join?
So I found out about reality mastery, I think even before me and you started working, when we worked on your sleep and performance,
Mhm.
by a couple of friends in the industry. I don't know exactly, but your name popped up. And back then, when I think your YouTube was a lot less subscribers than now. I started watching your YouTube videos back then. So even before me and you started working together. And then in my mind, you know, I'm in the online space. I see a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people that works on mindset, and it's a very like big industry to work in. And I just saw you consistently putting out good videos on YouTube, great results. Like back then, you solved the problems I had for the day-to-day life just from your YouTube, right?
Right.
So I felt when I hopped on the call with you, and one of the biggest reasons why I hopped on the call was like, you've helped me so much with your YouTube channel. So I just feel like I want to get into the deeper things. I want to get into more, but the content that is out there already just shows that, okay, whatever is within this program is so like it's golden, right? Because
Gotcha.
you could change lives with only that content that was out on YouTube. And that's what happened with me as well.
Right.
I hope that answered the question.
For sure, man. Yeah. So I think the content was like a big part of it for you that kind of got you hooked in. And I totally understand that too, because there's just so much stuff out there, right? So I'm also kind of curious to know. I'm sure you've come across so many other mindset coaches, so many other mindset people. You know, why reality mastery over the competition? I would actually be curious to know that.
Um, Honestly, it was the biggest thing was probably the results that reality mastery had gotten, and the entrepreneurs you had worked with, but also just seeing like 8 9 months period of you just putting out 20-minute videos on YouTube that basically only those changed my life, right?
Right.
And so that's also a big one. um, and yeah, that's probably the two main one. And obviously being within the online space, you see a lot of people and you kind of start to compare them together with I know, which is you. And it's like, no one goes into the depth like you do on your content and on your paid program as well.
Making me blush,
Yeah.
man. Making me blush.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So there's that. But the other aspect of it too is you mentioned that you were in the mindset of, okay, tactic, strategy. How can I make more money? How can I make more money? How can I make more money? Right. How do you
Yeah.
go from that and being so focused on the material to now, you know, what made you make that 180 and think, you know what, right now, the problem that I'm experiencing, the only way to get to that next level I see is through the internal change. What led you to that realization?
Because I had been in the game, online game, and with my business for a while, and been on the same spot, right, for quite a time. And I had your voice in my head from YouTube saying, Lee, you need to learn to let go. You need to learn to become more conscious of what goes on in your life, raise awareness, and all of these principles. And when I joined, essentially, the thought was, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this to 100%. I'm going to
Right.
commit.
Hmm.
I'm going to make sure, like, because I'm a firm believer in that, you know, become the client. And that's just one thing, the mirror principle, for example, that you teaches in the program is just big. But if I want to attract a client, and how do I want that client to be like, right? So
Hmm.
I gave the program 100% commitment, and I just thought, he's the mentor, I'm going to learn from him. And really, I just committed to it all and committed to doing something I've never done. I've never thought about being more conscious. I've never thought about how attached I am to things. I've never thought about how good I can control my emotions
Hmm.
or how aware I can be in my day-to-day life, right?
Hmm.
But what that program made was it gave a 180 to all of those aspects. Like it feels like everything that happens to my life today, before something bad happens, I already know it because I feel conscious and aware of it. So I know what to do before. So it's just, now I'm talking about the results more, but it's just a quality life in general compared to before.
Right. And that's awesome to hear too. So if you look at let's look at your internal state before, before you joined the program, because I think you'd been in the entrepreneurial journey for slightly less than a year. Like, you're fairly new to this even, because I think
Yeah.
last year was your full year of being an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah. I joined Consulting Accelerator in February 2020.
Okay, February 20. Oh, so, you basically started entrepreneurship. I mean, I don't know what you're doing before that. Maybe you tried some things.
No, I didn't basically.
Okay.
I was trying to figuring out for 2 months, and then I joined Accelerator
Okay.
in February. Yeah.
So you were in February till October, you'd gotten good results, but what was life like then, let's say before Reality Mastery, from, February till October, and now from October till, it's April now. What was your internal state like, even the person that you were back then?
I've let the highs of my business take so much control of me that when the lows came, it killed me. It completely killed me. And I developed an ego as my business grew as well,
Mm-hmm.
which is funny because it wasn't even a lot of money compared to now and back then. And
Right.
it was so many, like that's a very hard question. I'd make a checklist on that, on how many things that that I had problems with internally, but I had an ego. I was attached to every single thing that happened. Whereas to now, everything just flows better in my life, and not only um, business, but in personal life as well. Like back then, I would spend so much time on my business. I would not hang out with friends. I would be so strict. I'd be like, this is the grind. This is the hustle. Whereas
Ah,
now I'm living a more quality life where I have set times where I work on my business and then I just let go and I have fun and I enjoy and I reach my goals. Right.
that's
So
so
people always,
beautiful. Like,
yeah. People always think you need to grind and work hard and suffer. And that's, I'm a like perfect example of that because I thought that I needed to suffer in
yeah.
order to reach my goals. Whereas now it just goes with the flow and I'm getting better and better and
What
scaling
what I want to know,
every
what
time.
changed that for you? Like, how do you go from that mindset of I truly believe I need to suffer and kill myself and hurt myself in order to get results in my business, in my life, to, you know what, I don't need to do any of this. It can be fun, and at the same time you can make profit, you can make money while having fun. How do you go from that mindset to this? Like, what
It
really changed
was
that for you?
the program and the contact with you, being on the Q&A calls with you as well, and just you know you showing up and answering me when I need help in different situations, right? So the program itself, I felt like I went in with the mindset that I'm going to commit to this 100%. And when I did that, it was like a full ecosystem that gets adapted to your life, and your whole life changed, and not only on one area, in all different areas as well. So it was really a game changer, just the program. But then also me deciding to commit in the beginning, because a lot of people join coaching programs and take coachings and think that they don't have to do anything and the
Yeah.
coaching program will solve it for them. No, you need to show up and commit, right? So it was that, and it was the contact with you that I had with the situations that happened for me, and you guided me through them and told me what to do, and the Q&As and the recordings of people's Q&As, showing up on a Q&A call with someone who has a similar problem,
Hmm.
and that solves it for me, or just directly asking you. All of that together, with time also, it didn't happen in 3 weeks, but looking back at it now, when I actually take a look and look at the progress the last 6 months since joining the program, it's a completely different me, right? And I learned so much along the way, and I just found myself, now that I look back at Q1 of 2021, not only have I set up the person who I want to become, but I've actively taken the decisions, making the decisions, taking the actions that I need to take, and changing my life in order to become that person.
Hmm.
So, which many people can think of is like, you need to do the work and take the action, because it's not going to happen of itself. So you need to commit and do it. And yeah, that's mainly what I think kind of changed me over the last 3, 4, 5 months to where I'm today. And now I'm developing my spiritual side. I feel like everything's more integrated, everything in the universe more integrated, and who I'm becoming. I'm just, yeah, life is good.
That's good, man. That's beautiful. So what's also interesting to see is that, you were doing around, 5 to 10K a month when you joined until October, which is basically being on track to doing like 50, 60 grand a year, 70 grand a year, right?
Yeah.
So on average. But you ended last year, or from February till December. I don't know if it was December or not, but I think you posted that in the group, and you hit 100 grand. You
Yeah.
hit 100 grand in your first year of business. And
Yeah.
I think what's notable is you've had some of your biggest months in October, in November, in December.
Yep. 100%. 100%. I actually, that was only Stripe. I ended up with 120K. And my
Ah,
goal for that year was 1 million Swedish crowns, which is essentially 110 USD.
right.
Um, and yeah, that's exactly how it is. If you look at my graph, it was basically from January last year, 2020, just going up, up, up. And then I found my dips. And then after joining the program in October, the last 3 months really made me reach that goal. So it was the last 3 months of 2020 just skyrocketed everything.
Yeah.
And it's funny how the whole year I focused on business, on external things, on things, the opposite of what I should have. And then like only the last 3 months of the year I focused on myself, and boom, everything flew.
You know what, Eric? I think it's important for people to know who are watching this, like as a disclaimer, that it's not like tactics versus mindset. It's like most people get it wrong in that they just solely focus on the tactics or they solely
Yeah,
focus on the mindset. But what I've found and what I've seen with our most successful clients is that it's like the journey is internal. That's always the focus, but within it, a little aspect of it is the tactics and strategies and the business and the relationships. So those are aspects of the whole like self, right? The whole journey is internal, and the health, wealth, relationships, those are just aspects for you to like develop and face the challenges and grow even more. But the foreground is always like mindset and my internal growth, which is exactly what we began with. So it's
yeah,
interesting that you say that once you started working on that, those clicks that didn't happen in the beginning, all of a sudden they started to click for you. And now you can take a step back, reperspectivize, get a larger vision, larger picture of things, and move towards that without getting so reactive and hung up on the highs and lows. Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through that. I myself have gone through that. 1 month when you don't make as much money, you get attached to the money you were making, and you're like, oh shit, I didn't make as much money. Oh no, everything's going to shit. Then you start to forget about what you're actually working on building, right? And what
yeah,
you're building is going to take some time. It's going to take some sacrifices. But
yeah,
yeah, I think it's interesting that you note that. So
totally.
yeah, I guess going into the program, what was when you were going through it, what were the biggest epiphanies or the biggest tools or techniques and stuff that you took away from it that made a huge the difference for you?
It's a lot, but the things that comes to my mind is how you always touch on, the end goal is always to become more conscious as a human being. And that is one like big, from a bird's eye view, one big thing that helped me a lot, because even if I felt woke before jumping into the program, I honestly, looking back, I was just living day by day, still working hard and all of that, but still not being conscious of what I am and what I'm doing. And, the principles coming from the program in regards to that, like centering myself,
Mm-hmm.
that's something I do like 4 or 5 times a day now. Helps me so much along the way to just see my reality for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
um Think the principles you drop, the section you talk about attachment, the pendulums, it was like basically watching through the whole program gave me an answer to every single situation in my life that happened that I didn't want to happen, and I
Mm-hmm.
understood why. And now I know exactly how to respond to the internal and external things happens that happens in my life,
Mm.
right? So that program made me in a whole made me so, and I went through a hard period as well. I think as I was joining the program, and it was a perfect timing for me to join as well. Because now when I'm out of it, and now that I feel like I've changed and gotten the results that I wanted and become a different person, I feel like the principles I'm bringing with me from the program of how I'm responding to the world and how I'm responding to my internal world and the external things is just gonna make me such a more like powerful human being
Mm-hmm.
and a complete weapon within what I want to do and what I want to create in life, because I know that and I have my internal like I wouldn't say fully on point because it's something you always get better with, but very good.
That's awesome, man. So, moment of vulnerability here. You mentioned that you were going through a hard time when you joined the program. And I remember something about, a breakup or, something that was going on. Maybe you'd want to add to that. But if you're open to sharing, I would love to hear about what really happened and, how you actually were able to approach that from a better place. Maybe because of
Yeah.
principles from the program, maybe, something else, because I think that's important to shed light on in an entrepreneur's life. There's more to business. There's more than just business.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I don't want to get into too depth of that, if that's okay, too
Yeah, that's
details,
fine.
but I can tell you how the program helped. And, I started seeing personal life. We always go through things. People always paint up a picture of everything. Even as entrepreneurs, they paint it up as, yo, you're making money. It's good. Everything's great. It's really not. Everyone has like lows and highs in life. Um, and back then I went through a period and I just didn't know how to respond to the different situations I was put in because I've never been in those situations in my life before. And what this program really made me do is understand that with the principles that I've learned from this program, approach those situations. So I got out of them in a very, very good way. And more importantly, less attached to the outcomes of them as well. And now if I look back, like I was in such like a place of anxiety when I went through them. But now if I look back, it's like just it's nothing. It's fluff to me now. And how the program helped me was being more conscious of what was going on, not letting my attachment get too deep within what was happening in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and really just at the end of the day just being okay with things that was happening in my life
Mm-hmm.
and letting go, right? um and that was something I've always had a hard thing with, like letting go of things. I don't want to end things with whatever it may be in life. I don't want to end friendships. I don't want to end this. I don't want to end that.
Right,
I've
right.
I've always had a hard thing for ending things. So it feels like I got into that program and the test was right away.
Yeah.
And it helps a lot because it's not only like, sure, a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs jumps into programs like this with the outcome of I want to make more money,
Yep.
right? But and in my situation, it helped me on a personal level with life in general, with different situations I was put in, but also with my business. um so to me, I guess that program and the experience of being in it and still being in it just helps me live a more honest life with fulfillment and a life of quality by not falling into pitfalls normal people usually would fall into, because I know how to respond and how to be how to handle those situations. I hope
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, no, it does. I would also love to know, because you talk a lot about attachment. How did you get to a point, what helped you not be so needy and so attached? Because you got from a point of getting attached to maybe friends, people, you got to a point where you were too attached to the revenue, the highs and lows. How, what happens internally so that we can, understand a little bit what happens for you, for Eric internally, that kind of got you out of that, what, I don't need this anymore. Let's let it go.
First of all, you breaking down how it works in the program and like touching on the subject of attachment and how you should respond to things.
Hmm.
um so that's the first. And second, I guess, like as I told you, I've always had a hard time to let go of things happening, and especially I saw this within my sales calls as well. Like first 6 months in business, I was so attached to the sales calls. It's insane. If I listen to this calls, the recordings I have, I actually cringe, and I know how I felt back then. um Whereas nowadays, I have zero weight on the outcome of what's going to happen out of things. And I guess it's hard to say how the transition went from that
It
to,
is.
just
It is a
not
very
caring.
hard question.
I honestly don't know how to answer that, but I guess I just have after the program become a more abundant person. Like not I've not put all of my, attachment and all of my definition within my business. This is only my business. This is the only thing I got. Like I've realized it's a life out there as well that has given me a lot more abundance. Like
Yeah.
I'm a son. I'm a brother. I'm a lover. I'm this. I'm that. And it is giving me more abundance to, grow within those areas of my life as well, and not only within business.
Right.
Um, yeah. So I guess it's very hard for me to answer that.
No, it is. It's because at least what I've found is it's hard for one to answer that question because it just seems like a completely different lifetime. You know, who you were
Yeah.
before. Because even before joining entrepreneurship, I bet you were a completely different person, right? You don't even recognize that because I don't recognize who I was before joining entrepreneurship. And that kind of happens unconsciously because you get presented all of these challenges, and all of these challenges, people can use them to wake them up, or they can fall asleep to them and keep writing those same patterns, because the same challenges will keep coming up over and over and over again until we learn our lessons and we stop holding onto them and let them go, right?
Yeah.
That's when those challenges don't arise anymore. And when those challenges don't arise anymore, you actually grow and become a different person. And the challenges from your subconscious, they just go away. They're not in the memory anymore. It's not in your consciousness anymore. So you can't remember. It seems like a whole different lifetime, like you
Yeah.
got reborn or something. This is what
Yeah.
identity
No,
shifting at a very core really is. I believe, at least.
totally agree with you because I remember who I was before joining a program, but I don't remember how I got here. But I know who I am today and how I feel today and how I've been the last month.
Mm.
And it's like it's black. It's night and day on that. Like it's such a difference.
Oh man, this is just the beginning too. It's like your first year in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So I guess let's talk about some other areas of your life. Like, you mentioned that life isn't only just business, but in your personal life, what do you think you getting that consciousness, becoming more aware, getting clearer, learning how to let go and not be attached? How do you think those may have affected other areas of your life too?
Um, for example, and I used to never ever think about this, but actually realizing, the people I have around me and just trying to be a better son to my mom and dad, being more conscious of that. I still have them. They're still healthy. My
Yeah.
family's still healthy. My friends are, it's going good for my friends that I have. Everyone's like just being so consciously that and realizing that I'm actually very, very blessed and grateful for what I have today, the people I have around me. And attachment, it's been like certain areas of my life, with friends, how it's going with them, if there's anything falling in a pitfall with them, it's always like getting out of those situations good. But in general, and how the program has affected and had made me better on the personal side of things is now I don't see it as just business. Like before joining the program, it was just I had my eyes on business. I want to do this. I want to have this. I want to have this. I want to have this within my business.
Mm.
Now I know that I want to grow, and I'm so conscious of it that I want to grow as a son. I want to be a better son to my family and my parents, and a brother to my big brother and the people around me. Trying to be a leader and trying to actually see them grow and
Mm.
bring the best out of them. And that's how it has affected me outside of entrepreneurship as well, to just be a better me to the people I have around me. And I would never ever think about something like that before I would never ever say these words before jumping into this program. Like it would never ever happen because I would just have my eyes on what do I want. But I
Right.
guess that the program has just killed my ego completely of what I feel.
And
Yeah.
because the ego is dead, it's like now you can move without resistance because the ego always holds on. And if you hold on to something, you'll never be able to get to the thing that's inevitably coming your way. And that's also partially why letting go actually works. Like people think that if we hold on to our goals, we'll get to them, but it's quite the contrary, right? Like if you let go of
Yeah.
your goals, they'll just you'll get to them anyways. You were meant to get to them, but you just keep
Yeah.
resisting them because you want to play out this drama of, oh, here's me and here's my goal. And it's so fun to want my goal. I like to be in
Yeah.
a state where I'm always wanting my goal and never achieving it.
Yeah.
So
And it's funny you put it that way, because literally the whole so I reached my goal business wise now for 2020, but my goal for that year was 1 million SEK, Swedish crowns, which is 110k USD. And but I wanted to have a 20 to 30k month so bad. So bad. I wanted to have a 20 to 30k month so bad back then. And it's funny how after joining the program and just going through the journey, I reached literally a month later, 1.5 months later, I reached 20k. And then just getting better and better within myself and keep going. I kept going with the program and with what I should learn, and just applying the principles all the time and just becoming better, and going into 2021 and just letting go even more about the whole year, reaching 30k in February, which was my, like, I've that mark. I've always been like, yeah, that's like just a confirmation for myself where I can feel proud. And then I reached it with literally going into February this year. I don't care what happens. I literally told myself that I don't care what happens now, February this year, and I'll just do the work, keep my head down. I'll not even look at Stripe, and I'll just see where that takes me. And then when I counted everything up by the end of the month, I was at 30k, and it was the best month so far ever in my business. So it's funny how you mentioned like holding on to the goals. And I've been that person as well. I remember September last year, I printed out 20k on my wall, and I was just staring at that mark every
like
single.
notes everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, get into the car, you're about to drive 20k, 20k. Open your phone, 20k.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny how you get there by doing the complete opposite.
Yeah,
Letting go.
that's amazing, man. That's really amazing to hear. So I guess what's next for you, man? You know, you've come here, you've let go, you've actually like grown as a result of letting go and stopping on holding on to that past self. Every single aspect of your life has changed. Now you're focused on becoming a better human being, which I think is actually the recipe for success in any area of your life, just becoming a better you every day. But what's next for Eric?
So it's funny you mentioned that as well, because I used to always put a lot of emphasis on my business revenue goals. And I still do have business revenue goals for this year and every quarter, etc. But the main goals that I have is just about myself internally. Who am I becoming? Where am I going? Where is the bottlenecks in my life that I know that I can fix? And in general, just become a better person for the people I have around me, for my customers, for my clients, for my team. And yeah, just become a complete weapon as a person, and very good. And in terms of revenue wise and business, I still have those goals, as I said, but I don't put a lot of emphasis on them compared to just becoming a better person. That's like the number one goal for me. And yeah, by the end of this year, I don't want to get into I want to reach 100k in the next 3 months from April, so for Q2. And I'll see where that takes me. But I don't care if I don't. I just want to become better as a person. So I guess that's the main goal. Just become better as a person.
That's such a healthy attitude to have. It's like, because that's how, like the most successful people, that's how they set their goals. It's like, it would be nice to have, but you know, I'm not too attached to it. Let's see what we have to do, fix the bottlenecks so we can get there.
Yeah.
So then
that's kind of how I feel.
Journey.
Yeah. And especially once you've realized and once you've done it where, okay, I got here by focusing on myself.
Yeah.
So if I want to get there, I should focus on myself even more. Obviously, take the actions that I need to on a daily basis, but just focus on myself and becoming better as me.
100%.
Just better than yesterday and grow.
Such an oblique journey too. If you look at, like, I was recently looking into like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, why these athletes are the way they are, why they succeed. And there's this great book on it. It's called Obliquity, and how this journey is oblique, right? Like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, they don't focus on winning the game. They don't focus on winning any games. They don't compare themselves with any other basketball player. they just focus on loving the game. When you fall in love with the game, you stop counting the hours. You stop looking at the times that you put in hard work. You forget about all of that. And you just like
Yeah.
get so immersed in it. And out of that immersion, it's a byproduct, right? The winning the game is a byproduct. You know, becoming the best scorer is a byproduct. You don't directly, you aim for those, but they become an indirect aim. But the direct aim is me becoming a better person. If I become a better person, more in control of myself and where I put my attention, I'll fall in love with the game. If I fall in love with the game, I'm going to become the best.
Yeah. Nah, I totally agree. It totally makes sense. That's what I feel with this year. And honestly, for the rest of my life, I know that everything I've ever wanted will eventually come.
Yeah.
I just need to focus on myself and my internal world and take the actions on a daily basis.
That's amazing, man. I really love to hear that. So just before we conclude this, who would you recommend this program to and why?
I would mainly recommend this program to, and this is because I am an entrepreneur myself. I have my online business. So I know probably what you go through and how this can help you. Therefore, I think that's the number one person I can recommend this to. So if you're an online, if you have a business, doesn't need to be online. Like if you have a business in general, and the thing you need to understand, you probably noticed it yourself, attachment, not feeling well, being controlled by things that you don't have control of. All of these things is standing in your way to reach what you want to reach. And I 100% believe that guidance by Quazi, by you, will solve that problem for that typical person. That's the number one person I would advise this program to. But also, I can see people that doesn't run businesses joining this program, and I can see how it can help them, because this program, according to me, I think it's obvious that you should be in this program if you're a human being, because it teaches you to live a life of more quality. And like every second that goes of your day where you're not enjoying your life or are happy with how things are, I think you're just taking away like life force out of living life and how to live a life. And I think this program really helps to live a quality life in general, whatever you do at the end of the day.
Eric, can you please tell everyone that I didn't pay you to say these things?
Quasi did not pay me to say these things. And I want to be here for a second interview in 6 months from now.
Oh, I'm looking forward to
a
it,
different
man.
type of goal.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for taking out the time, man. We've tried to schedule this, for anyone watching, like 3-4 times now. First time I like totally looked at my calendar. I was like 7 minutes late. I forgot about it. Second time, I don't know what happened, like internet connection. Third time, again, internet. Maybe this is the third time, right?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
We finally got it right on the third try, and I'm glad we did. Eric, I'm going to insert your socials in the comment in the description box below. So if you want to check out Eric, you want to reach out to him, you want to work with him, you can click the button below, and you'll be directed to his socials. And if you guys want to apply to work in the Reality Mastery program together, I'll also put the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Eric, dude, thank you for joining us, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.